Day 5 of the Diddy trial has come to a dramatic close, and the courtroom just heard explosive testimony from Homeland Security. Officials named major Hollywood figures allegedly connected to Diddy's secret network, names like Kanye West, Michael B. Jordan, Ashton Kutcher, and Steve Harvey. This revelation suggests others may have known about or enabled Diddy's actions. Meanwhile, Justin Bieber has broken his silence, speaking publicly about his history with Diddy. The pressure is rising. Let's unpack what's going on.
Tonight, the brave Diddy insiders finally able to tell all.
Well, the things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
As Diddy's trial unfolds, several celebrities once closely tied to him are retreating from public life. Ashton Kutcher, for instance, stepped away from Hollywood years ago, reportedly sensing the fallout that was coming. His breakup with Demi Moore was allegedly tied to his proximity to Diddy. Ashton, like others, Will Smith, Justin Bieber, and Bishop T.D. Jakes, appears to be distancing himself now. But the question remains, how much did they know, and can they escape accountability?
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Ford?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
Hollywood is often glamorized, but insiders like Terrence Howard describe it as a predatory environment that forces people into morally compromising situations. Many celebrities may have been victims themselves, continuing cycles of abuse. Take Demi Moore, who in 2019 opened up about being exploited as a child. Her mother allegedly accepted money in exchange for access to Demi when she was just a teenager.
What's the problem with Rock Nation and Jay-Z now? Or what's the
Them isn't the elaborate setup kings. I ain't simple like his wife, and neither was Aaliyah. I guess that's why he had her killed. You killed that young woman. Who the fuck else would have known better how to have someone posing as Dame Dash's personal assistant call Aaliyah so strategically and tell her she needed to rush to the hospital in Miami because Dame was on his deathbed. Dame wasn't nowhere near Miami, and he ain't had no assistant call Aaliyah. Who the fuck else would have known that other than his closest ally, his best fucking friend, the nigga that was fucking her before him?
Wow.
Prove me wrong, sue me or kill me. These motherfuckers been killing people for years. Not long after that, Diddy and Jay-Z been running around acting like they run LA.
Demi Moore described how, at just 15, she would accompany her mother to bars to attract attention from older men. One night, she returned home to find a man waiting inside, someone she and her mother both knew. "It was rape," she wrote, revealing the man's chilling words. "How does it feel to be whored by your mother for $500?
Aaliyah was sitting in a taxi as her team and the flight crew argued nearby about whether or not to take off, and she complained of having a headache. Now, reportedly, a baggage handler nearby said that someone from her entourage gave her a pill. She took the pill, and that right after, she fell into a very deep sleep. So deep, in fact, that she was carried onto the airplane still asleep and may not have even been aware that she was on the airplane. Now, we should say we don't know what that pill was. It could have been aspirin. Maybe she was just very tired from a long hour-long video shoot, and the baggage handler did say that she took it willingly, but it does reveal some new information about those final moments.
After the crash, investigators determined the small plane was carrying about 700 pounds over its limit, and this is important, the center of gravity was too far back in the aircraft.
The pilot did not want to make this trip, and he reportedly argued with Aaliyah's team because he thought that it was unsafe. So he did make those calculations, and he did decide that it was unsafe. However, after protracted negotiation, they went through with that flight. Now, we did also learn some new things about this pilot. According to autopsy results, he had both alcohol and cocaine in his system.
The pilot
did.
Whoa.
He was not the authorized pilot for that plane.
That story is tragic. But what's shocking is Demi Moore's later association with Diddy. Despite her own traumatic past, she became a regular at his infamous parties. During her marriage to Ashton Kutcher, who was closely connected to Diddy, in the early 2000s, both were seen at numerous high-profile events hosted by him.
That takes me to when you speak on Aaliyah. People really was honed in when you spoke on Dame Dash, Aaliyah, and you're speaking on something where you're saying, I wish that situation would be investigated further.
No, to be investigated. Period. It was never investigated. Hype was never questioned. Lenny Kravitz made a statement, and it was never publicized. She was unconscious. She didn't choose to get on that plane. There were phone calls made. There are witnesses who signed NDAs. Why would you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement about a plane crash and what happened leading up to it? Please, someone answer that.
Do you feel like
why the fuck would you need to sign? A nigga don't ask about a plane crash if it was accidental.
Do you feel like...
Riddle me that. Work with me here in this moment.
And I'm going to ask you.
A plane crash should be accidental.
Should be.
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play? There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of fucking money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
Okay.
There were over 25 non-disclosure agreements cashed out and recorded regarding the death of that beautiful girl and every other human being that died on that plane with her. What the f***? What would you need a don't ask for that? And Diddy had Hype Williams the balls. Belly was a money pit.
Question.
And Jay-Z got 10 free videos out of Williams. And Hype didn't work for free.
Her uncle recently spoke out, and now people are listening again.
If you could go back and change anything, what would you do differently? How would you protect Aaliyah?
Oh, God.
That's a good, ugly question, because there's so many things and so many nights that I've stayed awake wondering if I had made a plan different, or if I had been there to the video shoot myself.
In a troubling twist, resurfaced footage from 1982 shows Demi Moore, apparently intoxicated, passionately kissing 14-year-old actor Philip Tanzini during a public event. She was an adult at the time and married to musician Freddie Moore. The incident is now being viewed through a different lens, given current discussions about Hollywood's darker past.
What is the deal with you and R. Kelly? Are you all married or not?
No, I'm not married. Robert's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. He's a great producer, great artist who I do admire, and there's nothing there.
When he did the record with Jake, that's why I was that was almost like one of the things where I was just like, he's out of here, Jake. I just let it go, because I couldn't believe he did a project with her, with R. Kelly, knowing that he had my girl.
What are prosecutors saying that he did to Aaliyah?
Yeah, the reason Aaliyah is part of this case is because prosecutors say she is one of the victims in a decades-long criminal enterprise led by R. Kelly, essentially for the purpose of sexually abusing underage girls. Now, during this trial, one of R. Kelly's former tour managers testified that he is the one who personally bribed a government official to get a fake ID for Aaliyah, saying that she was 18 years old when she was really 15. Why did he do that? Because R. Kelly reportedly wanted to marry her. That's what this man testified. And he said that R. Kelly wanted to marry her because he had gotten Aaliyah pregnant, and he wanted to be able to legally authorize an abortion for her as a minor at just 15 years old. And he also wanted to protect himself from prosecution.
It's reprehensible.
It's awful.
I understood the getting married part. I didn't realize there was a potential baby involved. What have you uncovered about that allegation?
Yeah, the new book, Baby Girl, reveals some new details about the final moments before that tragic accident. And according to the author, Aaliyah was sitting in a taxi as her team and the flight crew argued nearby about whether or not to take off, and she complained of having a headache. Now, reportedly, a baggage handler nearby said that someone from her entourage gave her a pill. She took the pill, and that right after, she fell into a very deep sleep. So deep, in fact, that she was carried onto the airplane still asleep and may not have even been aware that she was on the airplane.
The pilot must have been doing some of these calculations. Why would he risk his own life, and what do we know about him?
Yeah, according to the book, the pilot did not want to make this trip, and he reportedly argued with Aaliyah's team because he thought that it was unsafe. So he did make those calculations, and he did decide that it was unsafe. However, after protracted negotiation, they went through with that flight. Now, we did also learn some new things about this pilot. According to autopsy results, he had both alcohol and cocaine in his system.
The pilot
did.
Whoa.
He was not the authorized pilot for that plane, and he had just joined that company a few days prior to that flight, so he was very new with that company.
What is it that made your niece, Aaliyah, such a superstar, a one in a million find?
Oh my God, that is so difficult to answer. She had, from a little girl, she had a way that she just did things slightly different. She would view a movie slightly different. She would dress slightly different. And it was just her peers and her friends and her family were just always in awe of whatever she did. She would just come out and start singing one of her favorite songs, My Funny Valentine. And in fact, she did that on a show called Star Search.
Yep.
And she just was so special. We knew how special she was until she started talking about singing. I don't think any of us knew where she was headed until she actually started singing all the time and wanting to perform. And because of my profession, you know, it just happened to be, hey, why don't we see what we can do?
About a year and a half ago, you had a stroke.
Yes.
Could have been devastating. It's pretty scary. How did that brush with death impact how you now view the passing of Aaliyah?
Oh. Well, it kind of made me feel closer to her, to be honest with you, because when I had the stroke, it was so out of the blue and so sudden. For about an hour, I didn't know where I was. I was in some dark place, but I could feel the presence of other people. And I believed the other person was my mom. And she spoke to me and told me to get out of here and go back. And I said, "Ma, is that you? I can't see you." And she said, "You're not supposed to. You see me when you come back." And then I looked up and I began to gather myself and realize something happened to me, but I didn't know what it was.
So you had a near-death experience. How did that color what you think Aaliyah went through as that plane was crashing a minute after takeoff?
Oh God. Believe it or not, I was thinking about her music. I was thinking about, because I worked on it every day, very obsessively. So I felt like she was with my mom.
So does it make you more comfortable that Aaliyah might be there with your mom, or did you feel worse that she had to go through this as well 20 years ago?
No, I'm sure Aaliyah and my mom are in the same place. Yeah. After that experience, it's no question in my mind.
Where were you when you found out about the plane crash?
I was on my farm in Georgia, and got a call, and somebody says, "You got a long distance call. It's from the video shoot," because I knew that they were shooting a video, obviously. I ran to the phone, and I spoke to the director, Hype Williams, and he said, "Aaliyah's gone." And I was devastated. I immediately called Minister Farrakhan and asked him, could he call God? Could he talk to God?